Good morning, Meridian, and welcome to today's edition of Business Buzz. We're very happy to have our guest with us today, and that is David Conley, the Executive Director of One More Day. Dave is a proud veteran of the U.S. Navy, and One More Day is a nonprofit organization that provides support for those who serve, specific to the issue of suicide, and with a primary focus on putting every effort toward ending suicide loss in our veterans. Welcome, Dave. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hey, Dave. I've been in the nonprofit world myself for about the last 8 years, and throughout my career, been had the ability to work with many nonprofits. One of the things that I always love to find out is every nonprofit starts from someone's personal story or personal passion about the subject or the cause that they're doing. What is the story behind you starting One More Day?
Well, when I served, there were eight of us that were really kind of our own little brotherhood within the brotherhood, and we served together. We lived together, and just it was a close group. And when we got out, we all got out in about 18 months total. And from we stayed in touch. We'd meet on with our families on a yearly basis all over the country. It didn't matter what we were doing. When this came around, we'd go. And back in the early 2000s, the first one out of the group took his own life. And I remember how angry I was. How the hell did I miss this? And in the next less than a year, we had a total of four of us that all took their lives. And I fell into the worst rut I think I've ever been in. And I could blame myself there. How stupid I must be to miss four of my best friends having that kind of problems. And it got to the point where I was ready to actually become number five. And I realized that I had to do something proactive to stop it from happening to any the remaining group, or I would become that number five. So I started researching, what was going on, why there were so many groups out there that I could see that were combating suicide, but the numbers were still going up. So I started talking to family members, and I started talking to anybody I could, reading anything I could. And it took me a long time before I finally got to the point where I was comfortable to do actually start doing something. I wanted to go through every suicide training there was, and I think I have. And so that's how One More Day was born.
Well, Dave, you shared with me the other day some of the initiatives that your organization has taken on. I mean, suicide prevention, awareness, it's a huge task to undertake, but you're doing that through some of your initiatives. Can you maybe share with us some of those that you're working on?
Well, right now we've got two key initiatives, and then we've got the suicide prevention webinars, which are just growing exponentially each time. The first initiative is called Operation Better Together. And what we're doing there, we noticed really right off that there was kind of a disconnect between the services, their bases, and the law enforcement jurisdictions that surrounded them. And while that doesn't sound that bad, when you factor in that I think 94, 95% of military suicides happen off base, they happen in the civilian world, you start to realize just how important that relationship should be. So Better Together is a program where we're putting officers and the suicide prevention or even gatekeeper personnel from these military bases in the same room for 2-day trainings or workshops in a program called ASSIST, which is Applied Suicide Intervention Training Skills. And the reason is twofold. First off, we want to get more officers trained in advanced training. A lot of the departments don't have the money to send their officers through the 5-day, what's called CIT, crisis intervention training. So our goal is to take the number of officers that's trained, and in the next 5 years, double that. And so then, but more, I think, more importantly than that, when they're in these workshops, we have our instructors for the first time in assist history. Our instructors are assigning seating, so it's right now, if you put 10 officers and 10 military in a room, they're going to go 10 officers on the right and the military on the left, which defeats the purpose. The way we're doing it, we're putting them together so they're partnered up. That forces a relationship. Assist does a lot of role playing, so they have to become almost friends. And we did a pilot back in November, December, and January, and the results have been phenomenal from that. So that's our first. And then we've got Reaching the Future, which is designed to take kids 7th through 12th grade and teach them the importance of suicide prevention. It's nowhere near that level of training that we're looking for them. In fact, it's only an hour of training that they've got to do. What we're going to do there is we're going to be partnering with the different services. The Air Force is a big supporter, the Navy. And we're going to be taking mentors, like, say, an astronaut or a rocket scientist. We're going to have a wide spectrum who will do these webinars. And we'll get the kids excited about the fact that they are the best healer for their friends. At least if we can teach them, hey, this is what you look for. If your friend's doing this, this, and this, get a teacher, get a family member, get an adult. And then what even beyond that, what to do, how to take that child with you if it's a crisis, take that child to your teacher or counselor. We want these kids armed beforehand with what to do and how to do it. And that's twofold. One is the immediate benefit, which is they may stop a friend, but I think more importantly, it teaches them at a young age it's okay to ask for help. In fact, it's needed. So those are our two main initiatives that we're working on right now. They're being adopted by the National Guard Bureau. The Chief of Naval Operations is looking at the Better Together also. So there's real exciting stuff going on. We're working diligently right now to kind of shift gears for this Afghan crisis. We've got to figure out a program that's going to help our Afghan, not only veterans, but the people who are still in, help them deal with the fact that their feelings that everything was for nothing. It wasn't. I mean, I've seen the 20 years those people got out of this. So our goal is just to help them.
So to be clear, Dave, no, we chatted about this. You're not operating a suicide prevention hotline. Your organization is really bringing awareness to the different groups, trying to educate them on what is the driving factor behind our veterans and that have decided to take their own lives. Is that correct?
Correct. Although a lot of us are trained, we are not the ones that take that call. That's the veteran hotline. There's great places already there for that who are trained and do it every day. We are more trying to figure out how we can back that up a little bit so we can prevent it from ever getting to a crisis situation. Generally you run the risk of it being too late if you're running the intervention side. So our goal is, take the main reasons, loss of employment. So we create a job site, loss of relationships, get some counselors going to help our people stay together. So hopefully we can eliminate them from ever getting to crisis in the first place. That is our goal.
Yeah, Dave, when we spoke, this is a nonprofit organization that you started here locally in Idaho, but it's already grown so much larger. Can you tell us a little bit about the growth path that you've had and the far-reaching resources that are becoming available to you?
Yeah, it certainly wasn't intentional. When we started this, we were just hoping to help veterans in Boise, and then it just kept expanding out. The Air Force Base said, "Hey, can you help?" And it became such a huge thing. And then when we started creating our board of directors, we got really incredibly fortunate from the start, and we were just attracting people who we're 2 and 3 star generals or admirals. And once you start attracting that caliber of people, you bring along the people that they know. And in our last webinar, we had, I think, 1,500 people. We had representatives from all 50 states. We had 4 other countries. And we're anticipating even a bigger group on our next one, just because we're working with the senior leadership of the VA on this next webinar. We're going to be covering the really touchy subject, or not touchy, but tricky subject of sexual assault, domestic violence, and how they impact suicidal ideation. Especially from a military point of view, it's just really, it's a hard topic to deal with. So we've got so much support from the highest levels of government on this, and it's great. It
Yeah.
just works out really well for us.
So, Dave, nonprofits take donors, they take fundraising efforts and support. Locally here, you've got some events coming up. Back the Blue Ride, September 17th. Can you tell us a little bit about that event?
Yeah, we're just the ride portion of the Back to Blue event. Last year was the first year we did a Back to Blue. The purpose of it is just to say, hey, officers, we support you, we love you, we want to be your back. And so the promoters came up with this idea to do it, and I got involved at the pretty much last minute, and we just said, hey, let's put together a bunch of motorcycle riders, and we'll escort the police down there. And I think last year we had probably 50 bikes, and I think it was 3 departments. This year already, and we're still 3 weeks out, we've got, I think, 150 bikes. We've got probably, I think it's either 10 or 11 departments that are going to be, they're escorting us, we're escorting them. It's kind of a boat thing. We're anticipating 3,000 to 5,000 people at the event. So it should be a huge event. We've got some great speakers coming in. It should be a fun night.
Dave, if someone's wanting to find more information about your organization and how they could get involved, what's your website again?
It's www.suicide-prevention.org.
Okay, excellent. Well, Dave, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your passion and the nonprofit that you started. It's definitely something that's needed in our community and across our nation, and we want to say thank you for stepping up and helping in this area, and also thank you for your service.
And thank you for having us.
Yeah. Well, Dave, you have a great day, and I hope your event goes off very successfully, and your program continues to grow and they'll serve more people. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah. So that's it for today. Be sure and join us next Tuesday as we bring you the next edition of Business Buzz. Meridian, have a safe and happy Labor Day weekend. Thank you.